All right. Good afternoon, good morning, everyone. It's almost afternoon on my end. Um, yes, the live was supposed to kick off by 12 noon, but as is customary with us at the team, we tend to kick off a bit earlier or to start earlier than advertised. So if there's anything we need to sort out, we can easily do so. So that's why we're doing that. We should have Senko joining by about 12 noon. So I'm just going to take the time to take questions from everyone. With any questions, feel free to share them, and we would do so. Yeah, we would do so. I see four people viewing. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm just trying to tune in on YouTube just to see where everybody's viewing from. Okay, six. We're climbing, we're climbing, we're climbing. It's good to see. Um, this live should run for about an hour, maybe an hour and a half. And we're just going to be talking about the stock market, the economy, and everything in between. So I think another 5 6 minutes, we should have Senko on board. Let me know where you're viewing from. I didn't see any comments. So we can take the next few minutes to go through any questions that people may have. I can also run some technical analysis back to market. Yesterday, the index was down by 0.46%. The index measures the average performance of stocks. Um, TA wise, I guess we're in a good place. TA says sell, but where have we broken in terms of support and resistance? 230, we're just in the first support zone. So second support zone is 215K. I don't see that happening. Um, I don't see that happening. You should have Senko join in a bit. I see six people watching. How's everyone doing? If you are in Nigeria, um, how's the holidays going? In Nigeria, um, how's the holiday going? Mm. All right, nine people watching now. Senko, are you there? Let me see if I can have Senko on. And anyone have any questions, feel free to drop them. We'll do our best to take your questions. Luckily, it's a holiday. Luckily, the NGX site is up, so it's a good one. Hi, my maker. How you doing? Just getting things ready, waiting for Senko to show up, and then we'll begin. Yeah. So thank you for joining. Without added followers, there's no green ticket team. So everyone who takes out the time to follow, to share, to engage, yeah, all the reason why we do um, what we do and why we push to try every day to be better at what we do as a team. Um, I see 12 people watching. I see no questions. I take it everybody's portfolio is nice and good. That's good. Uh, Anyways, today is Tuesday. We've just had one day of trading in the market, so maybe that's why things seem a bit sleepy. Why is my image not clear? I don't know, man. It's a combination of maybe the background, maybe the internet. Um, Laptop cameras are usually piss poor. Yeah, that's the problem with laptop cameras. It's also quite cloudy where I am, so that's as well.
I'm not even gonna lie. Um, Moving into an apartment for a week. You know, when they promise to finish a job like today and then to do two jobs. If I can clean by next week, I can move in, I can start putting my jewelry.
Okay, Senko, what's up? The MTN share buyback doesn't affect MTN Nigeria. The MTN share buyback has to do with um, MTN MTN South Africa. So it has nothing to do with Nigeria. MTN South Africa is doing a share buyback for its shares. So MTN Nigeria isn't affected by it. Yeah, so no, nothing to do with Nigeria. Good afternoon, John. How are you doing? Team is good. I should be expecting the Cryptosenko anytime from now. They'll kick off properly. We may have other people on the team. Okay, Senko is in at the stage. No, I don't think so. I think the bumper interim dividend doesn't have anything to do with MTN South Africa buying MTN South Africa shares. Um, I think it's a case of hey, we maybe the parents company needed cash, so that's also possible. But I also look at it from the angle that MTN Nigeria generates decent cash flow. So they might say, look, we have the cash flow to support us. We sorted out capex spending. We've done all those things. So let's pay out what we need. Hi Charles Obi, how you doing? Senko, can you hear me loud and clear?
Yeah, loud and clear. Can you hear me? What a wonderful day.
Good. So you can share your screen and kick off. Ready?
Yeah, okay. Let me see if I can share my screen. Okay. All right.
Okay, I can see. Could you navigate to your screen? Let me see if I can just see your screen. I can see you on the stage, but okay, I've seen the second.
Can you see
I've
my
added
screen?
it
All right, right.
live.
Great,
Yeah, we
great,
can see your screen now. So I think
great.
I can. All right.
Okay. All right. Yeah, you can go ahead, I'm on the man.
Okay. Um. So it's question: Autodollars buying first hold call at 121, while the floor price is 130, 127. Does it create a potential upside? I don't see much upside in first hold call right now. First hold call is it 127 or 129? I don't see much upside. We have to see Q3 numbers. The stock has run. I mean, first hold call in July, I think did what's over 100%. I'm not sure what
Mhm.
it did in August, but the stock has run. It's run hard and fast. First hold call has outperformed the NGX, outperformed inflation. So I don't see much upside. It doesn't mean first hold call can move from the 127, 139 to 140, 145, 150. But when you look at it in context, and I think I have it somewhere on my screen here. First hold call closed at 127.9, and first hold call closed at 127.9. 10% upside from there is what? About 140 or so. 20% upside takes you to 50. So for I don't know. I mean, Adewale, if you're looking at a 5-6 year timeline for first hold call, if you have a 5-6 year timeline, then today's price doesn't matter. But if you have a shorter time frame, I don't see much upside because when you run so hard like that, more likely than not, um, more likely than not, you you would you would more likely fall down. So I don't see the short term. I don't see much upside for first hold go. Yeah, I don't see much upside for first hold go. And I don't. I said this yesterday. I think it was yesterday's pre-market. I don't see. I mean, first hold go at 1.6 times price to book value. I don't think it's that expensive. Um, Compared to where the stock has been. The stock has slept in the last couple of years. It lagged behind all the other tier one banks. So I don't see much upside in the short term for First Holdco right now. I don't see much upside. Hmm. So I hope that answers your question. Senko, that's an AMD chart. Any update about the Aradel trend? I don't see Aradel.
Well,
There's no
no,
new update about Aradel.
at
Yeah.
all. for now, there's no update on RDL, but the charts, we got a slight bounce around the 1,280 region, as you can see on my screen. But I just don't want to draw too many lines because I don't think that line, I mean, that region is, I don't think that place is um, valid. So again, I just expect that is either RDL bounce from this 1,208 or we come back again to close that this region. For now, it's difficult because for now I don't see that happening. For now, I expect the Bulls to take over by reclaiming the 1.5 psychological level and continuation from there. You could see that Aradel after Aradel you know, came down from the all-time high of about 2024. You could see that Haradel lost about 37 of its value. We had an instant reversal back to the 1,550 region. And 1,500 still remains the psychological support, now turning to resistance. The we can, I mean, Haradel has not been able to break out this region. So until the bulls show enough, enough momentum, and you could see this line. This is what we call moving averages, and is now acting as a resistance to the volume bar. The volume bar now is now the standard volume bar is now trading below the 20-week, not moving day. Sorry, this is weekly chart. The 20-week moving average, so we're trading below it. As of last week, there was a lot of sell pressure dominated by sellers. We could see that 11,590,000 units of shares were traded, which was largely dominated by the sellers. And again, it's now the 20-week moving average is now acting as a resistance. And just yesterday, Arada has just only traded 1,008,000 units of shares. So far, so good. Um, if we want to see an instant reversal, I mean, the bulls need to take the reclaim the 1.5 psychological support level. Psychology, I mean, that is now turned into resistance. They need to reclaim the 1,500 before we cannot see any catalyst. But if you ask me, Arada is trading at a very good discount, around the 1,280, 1,052. That was a very good region to be accumulating. But again, let me put this caveat: anything we say here is not a financial advice, and if you take it as an advice, you are on your own. Thank you very much. Yeah, over to you, Olume.
Okay, so there's a question. There's a question on Transcore. Transcore. Transcore is trading at what 36 naira. That puts it at the S.
Let me quickly pull the chart for Transcorp. I mean, again, I don't know what people see in that particular company, but it has been trading, has been on a downtrend, and is up, going back to 30 naira 90 kobo if they don't reclaim this demand zone. And it again, this funny thing, let me just remove the visible range follow profile so that people can see my lines clearly. Now, this chart, this was 20 August monthly high of 30 naira, August 2023 monthly high of 30 naira 90 kobo. Now, if you remember, if you recall, every time, let me just give you a breakdown of this particular. Let me just give you a proper technical overview of this particular company. Okay. Now, every time this was the 2025 yearly high of 61 naira 95 kobo, and we got the call spot on. This was the, I mean, from the demand zone of 14 naira 10 kobo to 14 naira 20 kobo to 41 naira 90 kobo. Now we got an instant reversal here uh, when this company bottomed around this demand zone. So we minted at least 50, around 50%, That was what we minted on this company. And I kept on saying it that the only way I will be bullish about this company is if we reclaim the 68 naira levels. And ever since we touched an all-time high, we hit an all-time high of 83 naira 50 kobo for this particular company. It has been on a downtrend, and it has been on a downtrend, and we've not gotten to those levels ever since we hit that level in 2024 February 2024. And now again we hit a yearly high of 61 naira 95 kobo in 2025. Again, we came back. Each, if you notice, each time we come into this zone, there's always a bounce. There's always an instant reversal. We get a bounce. It was range trading. And in technical analysis, there's something that we call when a particular region gets tested so many times, it becomes what? It becomes weak. And if you look at this was the first one, second one, third one, fourth one, fifth one. Then there was this, I mean, it was already weak, and instantly another lower low has been created. This was our high, this was our low, lower high, lower low, lower highs. I mean, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. Again, they couldn't take out this high, rejected, and now this was a lower high again, and another lower low has been formed. Where is the next possible region? If the if the bulls do not come in instantly to reclaim the 14 naira for 20 kobo to 41 naira 90 kobo, then we should be seeing Transcorp go back to 13 naira 90 kobo, which is August 2023 monthly high. And again, for me, I made profit from this company. I traded it, but I'm not buying it anytime soon. And it's not even going to be part of my long term, if I'm even considering. I can never be part of my long term. That's my own opinion. Oh, over to you, Norman.
Okay. I think that's what we have so far. You don't see any other questions. Should we get into the whole first hold code, gap up, gap down? I know
Oh,
we're
that
coming
talk about
to
that during the course of the events. Talk about let's talk about the main topic. Then we can talk about first of call, gap up, gap
okay.
down. I mean, when we're analyzing banking stocks properly, then I can just throw more light on the gap up and gap down that happened around that region, and explain what a gap up is, what a gap down is, and show some again. If you have not told your friends to join this live, go and tell them to join this live and ask questions. We are going to show you in real time all these things that I put on my timeline on X. You can now see it in practice, and I can explain to you. Again, a lot of you might not be able to understand, or just follow. You will see what I'm saying. You will have an idea of what this guy is saying next time he's posting on his X handle, and you can relate. Why? Because you came on this live and you're not going home empty-handed. Over to you.
Mm. Okay. So today we're going to talk about the NGX, the stock market, Nigerian stock market, and the Nigerian economy. Um, First, it's nice to see that in the last let's say last 1 year, we've seen a lot of retail participation, which is a good thing to have. But at the same time, I think that the stock market in Nigeria is kind of divorced from the reality of everyday Nigerians. First is you have very few new companies listed. When you look at companies that affect the everyday Nigerian, maybe you have 5 or 6 listed on the NGX. Your MTN, Airtel, maybe Dangote Sugar, Salt, Unilever. Even when you think about it, your Unilever, your UACN, yes, they're big brands, but you still have so many non-listed brands um, on the NGX, not on the NGX. So there's this distance between the NGX and Nigerian broader Nigerian economy. And at the same time, The ups and downs in the Nigerian economy also affect companies listed. If you look at the trend, and we did a video on this, I think, for a lot of companies in the consumer goods space, most of them barely grew this year compared to last year. Top line growth, revenue growth was very, very small. Some cases flat, some cases minor. And the reason for that, I would say, is probably due to last year, many of these companies were able to take price increases and all. But this year, with the way inflation is moving, there's a limit to how many price increases you can take. I remember such 2 3 years ago, in fact, almost every Nigerian brewery's call, analysts would ask them, how many price increases have you taken this year? How many more price increases will you take? And when you fast forward, I was on the Henneken call and I saw they said, look, right now, priority for Nigeria is, just maintaining things because they don't have, they want to grow volumes rather than push price because the economy is still a bit fragile to take more price increases. So, Senko, your own opinion, um, what do you think? What do you think can be done, let's say, to have a closer relationship between the NGX and the Nigerian economy? Because if you look at the US, I mean, stock market going up, stock market going down is big news. But here, the average man on the street doesn't even know what's happening in the stock market. So, how do we change things to be much better?
Okay. Anime, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
So again, the good thing, I mean, at least you said that is a nice thing that the retails are, getting, um, you know, interested in the market. But again, if we look at the numbers, um, I would say that the numbers is still nothing to write home about, and I believe that NGX have not been or has not been reporting the actual volumes that are being traded by the locals in this country. And again, it's not. I mean, Rome was not built in a day. But what have the NGX done to to promote our markets? Absolutely, I've not seen anything significant that the NGX has done to promote the market to encourage people to participate. But again, if you look at the economy at large, how many people, and this is a very honest question here, how many people can afford to even participate? If you look at the minimum wage, we talk about inflation. We rebased our inflation, and a lot of people say, "Oh, okay." Definitely, when you rebase a lot of things, it makes it look like okay, the economy is on track, everything is fine, and everything is better. But we go to the streets, you and I know the answer that mean rebase is just paper. But the actual thing in the street is that inflation is still high and it's still up there. And coming back to how can the NGX, take opportunity in this market? How can they work with this government? We just saw Temi had a call with what's his name? Uh, had a presentation with the president, and in that presentation, I felt like Temi did it at not did he did it. There's what we call doing something at the right time. I mean, doing something at the right time. I mean, not at the right time, doing the right thing at the wrong time. That was a wrong time for Temi to do that. What happened in 2025? Why didn't Temi make that presentation in 2025? Why did Temi do that in 2023? No, he didn't do that. In order for you to encourage, okay, more companies coming into the exchange. But let's even stick to the people. Yeah, the truth is, Onome, if we put this on the, I mean, if we are looking at reality, the reality is that a lot of Nigerians are still not participating in this market. A lot are still left out of this market. And it's just I mean, and that's a simple way of saying that the economy is not still, in as much as we're cooking the nice macros. Oh, the macros are doing well. The Yes, that's macro. We're talking about micro. There's not enough disposable income for people to come and buy stuff in the market. Because if there were disposable income, let's start with the our per capita income. What's Nigeria's per capita income compared to the United States of America? At least at the age of there are young people in the United States of America that I can't even use because it's non-measurable. See kids, you see parents open accounts for their children. I'm not saying that that's not happening in Nigeria, but at what scale? Truth is, if we want to tell ourselves the truth, we cannot use the NGX. Whether the president is using it as a campaign, this thing, that's for him, but that's a very wrong tool to gauge economic performance or economic growth. You can't use that because that money does not remain in the economy, because if the foreign portfolio want to exit, they can exit, and you see that, oh, um, the price again. We saw that in 2023. So if you are using the NGX market as a yardstick, I mean, I don't share that, because you can use the S&P 500 to gauge, to talk about the performance of the United States of America, how the economy is thriving, but you can't use that same, that same thing for the ASI, because not not many people trade or transact on the NGS market. Yes, you might say, oh, there's a trickle down effect and all those things like that. That, oh, it's coming to, it's going to, but I don't share that because it's not, it's a deceiving metric. I like to say the truth.
Mm. Okay. There's a question on NASCON. Someone says NASCON has been stagnant for a while. I mean, from the result side of things, NASCON results were good, but there was barely any revenue growth. What drove NASCON results were, I think, lower finance costs or just better efficiency. So, I mean, the results were good, but you have to also look at the market broadly. We've had lots of good results that didn't really move the market. So, um, I don't expect NASCON to do anything out of the ordinary. But I suspect that if we can have lower operating costs for a lot of these firms, maybe, I mean, NASCON has had a good year, but it's a good year driven by efficiency and not growth, which for me, I'm a bit wary because NASCON sells salt. There's not much competition in that space compared to sugar. And TA wise, I'm sure Senko can elaborate, but NASCON is trading at 195. 195 is at the pivot point, so you don't expect any much movement there. Yeah, but other than that, I don't see. NASCON is a great firm. It's a great stock, but it's there's nothing that will stimulate that stock to move right now. So don't expect any big movement in the stock. Yeah.
I quite agree with you, Monome. I mean, beautiful company. Their cash flow, great. Um, the only thing that I'm just kind of worried about was their Q2 number, which was just their majorly was the revenue. Revenue barely grew, just 3% growth, and that's not that's not the NASCON we know in terms of why did growth stall, why the revenue growth stall. But I want to give them benefit of doubt. Let me see what before I mean, if I see their numbers for their Q3 or 9 months numbers, let me say Q3 especially, then before I now say, oh, there's cause for alarm if the primary cause of the primary operations of the business is not bringing in more money or generating more money, then there's a problem. But for now, the chart looks bullish. Chart looks fine. A very good region. I mean, if you For those that don't have, I mean, if and you're considering of adding this kind of beautiful company to your portfolio, a 165.3 beautiful region. But for now, we'll just continue to fill in this gap. Let me use my ellipse. So this is my ellipse. I'm going to just use my ellipse. So for now, we'll trade within this region. Let's just see. I mean, I don't expect anything, especially generally for the market. I don't expect anything, you know, nice or any catalyst that would propel the market, except maybe the FTSE, which we might later talk about. I don't know, but for now, I don't see anything for propelling NASCON to its previous all-time high of 222 naira per share. Currently trading at 195 naira per share. So, but this is a very beautiful company. Good regions. Either I'm buying, I mean, I'll heavily go in at 133, 140, which I don't see happening for now. We drop. First of all, let's see if the BS can break the 165.3, but I don't, which I don't even see happening because there's been a lot of consolidation. Though it has been trading sub 195 in the other book, that's not the main price here that we're seeing. The reference price here is still the 195 region.
Another thing to note about NASCON is that year to date the stock is up 81%. So where I mean stock has done 81% in what 7, 8 months. I don't see much room to run for the rest of the year. What else do you want the stock to do? In the last 1 year, it's done 116%. Year to date, it's done 81.4%. So, technically speaking, there's nothing right now that to push NASCON much higher. So, the only price direction for NASCON, it stays where it is or it goes slightly down. But going higher, I don't see anything that will push it. But it's a great company. Is there anything wrong with NACO's fundamentals? I don't see anything wrong with their fundamentals. NACO is in a great space. Um, Technical, let's see what technicals have for NACO. NACO, let's see. Stock is at 150.2. TSA sell, but 150 puts NACO at just underneath. It's between the S1 support zone of 133, pivot of 155. So um, I think it will kind of range straight here for a while. But fundamentally speaking, NACO is in a good space. The only challenge I have with that sector is hopefully they don't have any issues with damaging aircraft and all that. Other than that, it's a good sector. I mean, I'm looking at their H1 numbers, slight growth in revenue, profit after tax grew quite well, finance costs came down, so it was more of an efficiency kind of thing. Operating profit was also good as well. They were able to manage admin expenses. So NACO was driven more by efficiency in H1, lower admin expenses, lower finance costs, top line revenue grew. Maybe this is looking like maybe 10% or slightly less than that. But it's a good firm. It's a duopoly. It's a great stock to own. I just need to get in at the right price. So in fact, I'm looking at EPS. EPS is what 4.8. So if we maintain this run rate, you're looking at maybe 10 naira in earnings. At its current price, that means NACO is trading about 15 times multiple. I don't think that's too expensive for that stock because my baseline mathematics, if you assume NACO can grow its earnings by 15 to 20% every year, which is fair, if you are buying at 15 times earnings, it's not so expensive. So ideally, you want to wait for NACO to drop to maybe 120, 130, 120 to 140. So that will now bring forward earnings to about 12 times, 13 times multiple, which I think is a comfortable place. Because in my view, at least for the mid-term, I see no reason why NACO cannot grow comfortably grow its earnings by 15 to 20% every year for the next 3 4 years. So NACO just needs to come down maybe by another 10 to 20 naira, then it will be a good zone to get into that stock. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, for Nako has run. I mean, it hit for two before the bonus and the dividend. Nako traded at 248, almost but for now, after the markdown on bonus and dividend, where's Nako? Nako is currently down by 33% from its previous from the current markdown high of 226.5 and to where it's trading at 150.2. And before NACO was even down, was further down by was further down by 41%. Again, at 41%. We'll go an instant reversal from the 133.7. The only good place I'm looking at for now is if we come back to close this gap between 119, 128.2, close this gap and maintain this region, or we reclaim back the 158.163.7 region. If you ask me, NACO trading at 150, we come back to 128 to 119, which is a very good region to close the gap. That will be a very beautiful place to swing or to add to your position for NACO. Again, and if you ask me, NACO is still cheap. Yeah, technically.
Okay. I mean, year to date, NACO is up 58.9%. So it's kind of done slightly better than the market as a whole. So I don't, when you look at stocks and you're looking at how much more room, how much more run you expect in a stock, you have to take the three factors into consideration. You have to take technicals. Technicals have it trading between pivot and support. So that tells you there's no run at the moment. Fundamentals, you have to look at it. Sure, 15 20% in growth, great, but that's fine. And then you have to look at year to date performance. Year to date, the stock is up about 58 59%. It's done well, so there's no momentum that to push this stock higher than where it is. And that kind of brings me to my next question. So, Senko, um, explain this relationship because for a lot of people, they might look at on surface value and say, look, retail is driving the volumes, uh, foreign portfolio investors are driving value traded. What's the interrelationship between both firms, both sides of the coin, and what's the flow of the funds into the market been like? Are we seeing fresh money into the market? Are we seeing money sitting on the sidelines? Are we seeing money exiting the market?
Very, very, very beautiful question. Yeah, let me say first of all, we are not seeing fresh money coming into the market. That is very clear and very, very, very simple. We are not seeing fresh money coming to the market. Where we are seeing why my people are making noise, value traded is it's just one transaction or one of transaction done by we know who, I mean first Oldco or the FO buying 20 billion, and again that's already account for 65% of or more than 70% of the value traded for that day. Um, for the who is driving the market, honestly speaking, Onoma, let me not lie to you. The people driving this market are the institutional traders or institutional investors. Yes, the retail has tried a little bit. Yeah, I mean, when they did the um, uh, when NGX brought out its data, they said 1 point something trillion were traded by investors. And if you look at I mean, Charles shared on his timeline, and I want you guys to follow Charles Bivens if you are not following, so that you can check the deal close. I mean, there are deals that he always share on his timeline. Those deals, those deals are majorly done by the big guys. And if you look at for instance, maybe for those I'm not giving any. There's a particular platform. I don't want to call their name before they think I'm promoting them. I'm not promoting anybody. There's a particular platform that shows uh, total trades, total trades versus. So they will show you the bigger trades versus the the retail trades. Now on a particular stock, total deals. I remember. Yes, total deals, total trades, the bigger trades, and you see those things like that. It breaks it down for you for that particular stock at that moment. Now, for a particular stock, you might have 50,000 deals, meaning that there were a total of 50,000 trades. Now, in that 50,000 trades, you now see total volume traded. The total volume, let us say the total volume traded was around 200 million. This is very, very, very. I mean, I don't want to call the platform name. You guys will have known the platform I'm talking about. If its total volume traded is 200 million, they might just tell you, oh, only three in that 200 million traded once, I mean, 170 million. That's three trades made that 170 million, and the remaining 30 million were done by 49,997 uh you know were done by 49,997 deals in 49,997 deals. What does this tell us? It just tells us that just three transactions took everything for that particular stock. Meaning that if those three trade transactions were not there, we wouldn't have gotten uh, that spike or that volume. So the truth is, you say retailers are driving the market. I don't think largely the foreign institutions are still the ones driving this market, and that's just the simple truth.
Mm, mm.
Because if
Okay.
again, this is another way to check it. The foreign institutions have not really been participating like that. If the retailers were the ones who are moving the market, I don't think we should be here. You know, we should be seeing results in the big, I mean, the mid cap stocks. But what's happening? You still see the big guys still dominating in the large stock. It's just simple. Both value traded and volume traded, the big guys are still dominating.
Do you see? I mean, when is the deadline for FTSE Russell, and how soon do
We
you think we see the impact?
we expect them either Friday or Monday. Monday, they said close of August. So the any moment from now, let's never say Friday or Monday. Any moment from now, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we should. I mean, today's gone. We don't expect anything. So maybe from tomorrow, Thursday, Friday. So because September, they need to make their decision on whether they are going to add Nigeria back to the frontier index or not. So Monday is the last day for them to give that because that's 31st of August. Then there's a Friday again. I don't know if the it was good news. I think they would have we should have been getting some kind of filler in the markets. I'm seeing the big boys come back gradually to start taking positions, especially if they know that Nigeria might be, I mean, technically added to the index. But for now, we've not seen such move in the market. I mean, these are things that that are catalysts to driving the market. But for now, I've not seen anything. We just hope that it's going to be positive, and I don't know, but between Friday and Monday, it cannot pass Monday. It can't pass Monday. So let's just wait that the decision comes out one of the Monday.
Hmm. Okay. It's a question. What's the? And I think I will take this. What's the competitive advantage of Resta in the logistics space? Honestly, it's a bit difficult to answer that question because most of the companies in the logistics space are not listed. The only listed logistic companies are Red Star and Transnationwide Express. Tranex is a way smaller company compared to Red Star, so I can't compare. I can't compare both. All I would say is that Red Star appears to have been holding his own well. Um, they've been around for well over a decade, pushing probably pushing what over 2 decades or more, and they've been doing quite well. The only thing I don't like about space is logistics is a very thin margin space. So if you look at the Red Star results, I think their profit margin shouldn't be more than maybe 5, 6, 7%, which is a problem for me because in normal business conditions, your profit margin is so tiny. If something goes wrong, you have maybe a 30, 40% increase in operating costs or one thing or the other, that will easily push that company to loss. So it's a great firm. They're doing well. It's not just very liquid. It's just a thin margin business. But other than that, if you can catch Red Star at a good price, then that's good for you. Because Red Star is what's trading at 16 naira 15 kobo. I think a good entry point is somewhere between 12 to 14 naira in my view. But I wouldn't even buy Red Star because what are they going to do? I remember, John, you can go check one of the pre-market videos I did that this week or last week. I broke down the numbers for Red Star. But if you assume that Red Star is going to do maybe 70 kobo 1 naira in earnings, then it's trading at about 16 times earnings, which I think is expensive because the growth, if you use a napkin rule of thumb of somewhere between 12% to 15% earnings growth. It's logistics. Logistics doesn't grow that crazily. You don't have huge growth in logistics. So it's a great firm, but I just don't see right now. I don't think it's on my radar till the price comes down a bit. Yeah. Um, okay. Any other questions that we have? We're about an hour or maybe almost an hour in. Senko, when should we round off?
If we are not getting questions, maybe we should just, when we are done with all our conversation, we ask
Okay.
give them 10 minutes or 15 minutes, and that's all. I just want to just chip in one or two things. Restaurants down by 61%. I mean, down by 58% because we had a gap up yesterday. Um, but as of last week, Friday, the restaurants was down by 61%, trading at a discount in technical terms. But right now, down by 58% because yesterday they had a 9.9% move. Let me confirm that. I think yes, they had a 9.9. Um, yes, 9.86% move for restaurants, which we can see on the charts for Red Star X. Key areas that I'm looking at. Again, this was a very key region, but I had to change my bias because I knew that Red Star X was going to break down this channel. Region I'm just looking at to hold Red Star X. I mean, to if I want to buy this company, I'll be looking at the 11 naira per share region, 11 naira per share region, and the 14.35. Now, the Bulls must not lose this zone. This zone was previously yeah, this was 2025 all time high. All time high was 14 naira 35 kobo, and Restarex ran out so hard from 14 naira 35 kobo to 38 naira 25 kobo. So it's expected that they see this kind of corrections in their stock, in their price. I mean, so yeah.
Uh, okay. So there's a question: is there a relationship between the revised OMO and Treasury bill investments for investment, Treasury bill guidelines for individuals and stocks? I don't see any correlation because what's the minimum size for OMO? I don't know. Maybe Senko can help me. I don't. I think it
That's
can't be
50
less
million.
than what
50
50
million,
million, right? So
1,000. Yeah.
it doesn't change anything significantly for the stock market because whoever was the people that I mean between OMO and Treasury bills, those that were buying, and if my math is correct, the gap between OMO and Treasury bills has kind of been closed. So I don't see it. I don't see it having any impact on the stock market, really. Um, I don't see it having. If it was going to have an impact, you would have seen significant inflow or outflow. We're not seeing that in the market, other than FTG Insurance, maybe First Holdco, and a handful of 3, 4 names. We don't have much volume in the market, so um, I don't see that. Then was question with the Dangote IPO. Not seen much about the Dangote IPO. I guess maybe to kick off September, October. I don't know. When it kick off, we'll know. But right now, there's no news about the IPO. But fingers crossed. I guess maybe by September we'll have a few more details on that. Yeah. So I think that's the question we've gotten. What else do we need to touch on Senko? Well, you were mentioning something about going to look at the banking space. What's
Yeah.
happening there?
So for the banking space, we just need to, again, remind the public that
Mm,
the Fugas have not released their results. And again, I want to blame or call out
mm,
the CBN for the major part of all this. Yeah, again, JP Morgan has released their results. They have the Fed
mm,
Reserve, I mean, the federal, and the Feds have been able to do their due diligence on this company, I mean, on these banks, these big banks, and their result, they have a timeline or a timetable that they respect, that the NYSE slash NASDAQ have released, that mean earnings calendar. And I think it used to be the bank, I mean, the financial services first that release their results um, for in the US market. Again, this is where there's a break in communication between the NGX, the NGX group, that's the management, and the regulators. They are not working in sync. This is how many months now? I mean, every people will say, "Oh, it's not easy to audit banks," but are companies in the US being audited, and our banks are not even a quarter to these big guys. What is causing the delay? I can't just wrap my head around it. That this is um, we're almost entering September, and September will be the end of Q3. 9 months results will start coming out, right? And immediately when banks are releasing their Q3, it's always unaudited. It's always fast. There's no way. What is GT Bank? GTCO will release their results quickly. What is CBN doing that these results are not being released as at when due? And it does not help the banking, their share price or their stock performance, because when you are dilly in releasing your H1 in for investors to take informed decisions, especially the foreign guys that are largely invested in you guys, then this is where the problem comes. The CBN need to understand that information, even though it is already in the past, but people want to see this, and it is not good, and it is not fair that after 2 months or almost 3 months, almost, let's just say almost, I mean, almost after 2 months, the banking results have not been released, especially for the ones that want to pay dividend. And the CBN said, oh, they must go on that. Yes, this is good. This is me that is always praising the CBN, but this one, they have not really done well. They've not really done well, and it is not really looking good for the banking guys, especially. Wema has not released their result, Sterling has not released their result. And again, all these uncertainties is not good for the market. It is not good for the market. And the banking
Senko, Wema has actually dropped results. So yeah, Wema results are out.
they've dropped. Oh,
Yeah,
sorry, my bad.
Wema and Sterling
Okay,
results are out. But yeah,
they didn't declare dividend, right?
no dividend.
Sorry, I take that. So sorry.
Mm,
I'm talking about the Fugas, the ones that they. I mean, I don't know
mm.
about the other ones. I mean, inside the Fugas that say they want to pay dividend, I don't know. But the one like GTCO and Zenith that released again another extension, then CBN need to do. I mean, they need to just hurry in releasing these results. It's not looking good for the market, and these guys are big guys. So We are moving away from that. Looking at the banking index, yes, trading closer to its all-time high, previous all-time high of about 2,605.4 points. And the main mover of the banking index has been Fidelity Bank. We see Femi Nkodola, scooping more shares, trying to maintain real dominance in the market. Now, you look at so let's quickly just move on to. I'll just touch on few banks, then I'll wrap my submission with First Bank and explain some things that we had in the last Sunday call. So for GTCO, GTCO so far so good. It's not a bad outing for GTCO. The only thing that I just want, the Bulls to take note of is not losing the 120 naira psychological level. As long as GTCO is above the 120 naira psychological level, which again still um present a good region, but where I'm interested in buying GTCO, if we continue to see a downward trend, I won't hesitate buying GTCO if I see it at 103 naira 20 kobo. But I don't see that happening. But 120, 127, still decent place to look into for GTCO. And all time high of GTCO is at 157 naira per per share. Then moving on to from GT Code, there's First Bank. Okay, let me come. I'm not talking about First Bank. Fidelity. Again, Fidelity that has been in a distribution phase, trading between the 17 naira 95 kobo to 22 naira 45 kobo. I've not been able to break clearly. There is no breakthrough for Fidelity at 22 naira 45 kobo, and again they've done well. Their market makers have done well. Like I said that yesterday, that for them not to be trading around the 15.7 and 15.20, I won't hesitate either buying Fidelity around this zone and this zone at the 14 naira 13 kobo, 14 naira 10 kobo, to 13 naira 60 kobo, very beautiful zone, and 15 naira 20 kobo to 15 naira 70 kobo. These are very good region now. I'll be deploying good bids around for a Fidelity because that's where the main arbitrage is. I won't be buying at a range, 17 to 22. I'm not going to get caught in that game, except I see good, there's a clarity for Fidelity breaking out of 22.45. For now, I won't touch Fidelity Bank. Then let's say what's the name again? What's the name of this bank? UBA. For UBA, they've done so well from the 39 naira 40 kobo, which was a very good support. Again, my analysis said that 33 to 95, 33 naira 95 kobo to 39 and 39 naira 40 kobo remains two good support level for UBA, which we got a bounce from the 39 naira 40 kobo. Back reclaimed the 43 naira 50 kobo that was a resistance, now has now been flipped into support. Again, all I just want to see is that UBA does not lose the 43 naira 50 kobo and try to again run back again to its previous 2025 all-time high of 2025 yearly high of 15 naira 50 kobo. While again this year, I think yes, the UBA did an all-time high of 55 naira 20 kobo per share for UBA. So these are two. Anything, I'm not interested buying 39 naira 40 kobo or 43 naira 50 kobo. Only interest is maybe seeing the GT UBA at 33 naira 95 kobo. For now, I'm not interested in buying such thing. Um, for Zenith Bank has actually done beautifully well, respected the 100 naira psychological level. I remember uh, calling this around that zone. We minted 28. We had a very good move from the 100 naira, and we minted around 28%, around 26 to 28% for this kind of trade. Again, for Zenith, nothing has changed. 113 and 60 kobo and 100 naira. These are two key levels that you want to watch for a Zenith Bank. So Let's quickly move into first old code that caused a lot of argument on our X space. Um, for YouTube fans, don't miss our X space. But I think Monome will be streaming live for everything anytime we will have our Sunday space. I mean, on America, right?
We're working on that by September.
Okay,
Yeah. So by September, we would be live streaming across all platforms.
okay. So let's quickly just let me see. I hope I've not deleted my first old code chat. I'm looking for it and I can't find it. So I for first old code, I hope I've not deleted it. Okay, I've sent. Okay. So for first old code, this is let me just quickly move it to the daily chart. So let's quickly look at the daily. And I'm gonna be explaining some things about for the daily move, what we mean by gap up and gap down. Now, in technical analysis, I hope everyone can see my screen because I just want to show you guys something.
Yeah, we can. But we're still seeing Zenith Bank on your screen. Okay, well, yeah, first old code is visible now. Yeah.
Okay, good. Let me remove this. I'm trying to look at obvious. So a gap up or gap down simply means that price of a security or price of a stock jumps from one price area to another between trading sessions without trading the prices in between. That means you are not going to trade in between these prices because me as a buyer, I'm not interested in buying. I mean, me as a seller, I'm not interested in selling in between here. I want to what? I want to sell at this region. That's what a gap up is. A gap up happens when today's market opens. That means when today market opens above yesterday's highest traded price. I will use example and we will use first Oko as a sample. When today's market opens above yesterday's highest traded price, and I marked these 3 dates. I marked this plus this one that I circled. All these markup were for a reason. Let me see. Okay, they were for a reason. These three markup that I had were for a reason. All these three markups were for a reason. That's a gap up. Now, let's say, for example, a stock ABC highest price for that day at 10 naira per share. Then it closed for ABC on that same day, closed at 9.8 naira, 9 naira 80 kobo per share. Today, and that same day, the stock opened at 11 naira per share. It opened at 11 naira per share. Now, take note, the stock did not trade between 10 naira and 11 naira. So there is a gap on that chart. And what's that gap on that chart? The difference on that chart is 1 naira. Now, don't forget, so visually, yesterday, the stock, closed at 9 naira 80 kobo yesterday. Normally, it's supposed to open what? When the market is open, it's supposed to open at suppose either trade in between, maybe open at 9.9, 9.8 instant before there's not that move. Now, because the stock now open today at 11 naira, do you understand? There was no movement between 9 or 10. So visually, No trading occurred between 10 naira to 11 naira, but the market opened at 11 naira, which makes makes it to be what we call a gap up. I will use an example here before I now talk about what a gap down is. Let me see. So let's use this a very simple thing. I mean, it's this. Let's open. This was April 16th, right? I want to use yes. April 16th. Our our opening. Take note, guys. You can see it on my screen, on the top left of my screen. Opening for first hold code. See it. I've put it on the candle. I've put my cursor on the candle. Opening for first hold code on the 16th of April. Opening was 54 naira 20 kobo for first hold code. Then its highest traded for that session on Thursday was 58 naira 45 kobo. Again, I will be checking the answers so I will know if people are following. The lowest that first hold code touched on that same trading session was is that's the lowest point that maybe others, and definitely if trade I mean if there's a lowest point of 50 something 54 naira 20 kobo, that means trades executed at that price before it closes out at 58 naira 45 kobo. So the lowest point trading point for that particular day was 54 naira 20 kobo. Then oh sorry, another example.
No, no, that's fine. You go ahead.
So then the closing price for that particular day is what did the first Oko do? They on that Thursday they closed at 58 naira 45 kobo. So normally what on 17th on Friday there was a gap up. Can you see this gap? And that's why I always use again I'm not going to tell anybody my strategy with trading, but those people that pay attention to those gaps that I always call out, there's a reason why I call out those gaps. Remember, the closing is what? 54 58 naira 45 kobo. We are supposed to open the following day, right, at 58 naira 45 kobo to be our opening for the following day. But guess what? Price on Friday opened at 62 naira per share on Friday. Do you know what happened? I want to ask. Who can explain? Sorry, I said who can explain. Who can tell me what was not traded when price normally moved from 58 naira for 5 kobo to 62 naira as the opening? Now let's go to normal days where there are no gap up or gap down so that you get what I'm saying. Let's say that on 13th of April, we'll come back to 17th of April. So stick with me. And it's very easy. Technical analysis is easy when you pay attention. We closed on Monday, 13th of April 2026. Opening was 51 naira 80 kobo. Um, you know, highest point price touched was 51 naira 80 kobo. Same low was 51 naira, sorry, 51 naira 10 kobo. And we closed at 51 naira 15 kobo. So what is going to be the opening for Tuesday? Or what is going to be the opening for Tuesday? Let me see on the chat box. I don't think people are. So what's going to be the opening on a Tuesday? Let me see. Let me take that again. I said 13th of April 2026. I'm coming back to 17th and 18th of April. So 13th of April, opening was 51 naira 80 kobo. Highest point that price touch was 51 naira, still that same 51 naira 80 kobo for that day. The lowest price, that price touch was 51 naira 10 kobo. And on that Monday of 13th of April, on Monday 2026, price closed at 51 naira 15 kobo. Tomorrow, which will be, we're assuming that okay, tomorrow will be 14th of April 2026. Where is price? And there was no gap up or gap down. I'm explaining the concept called gap up. Where will price open the following day? If there's no, like, again on this chart, there's nothing like that. This is 14th of April. My cursor is on it. So where will price open on this day? I'm not saying anything on the chart, but thank you
All
very
right.
much. Thank you. 51 naira 15 kobo is where price will open at. And you guys are correct because the Tuesday price opened at 51 naira 15 kobo. Now let's now go to the definition again that I now used. Now let's quickly move to Thursday, which was 16th of April 2026. And there's an obvious gap up that happened on that particular day. 16th of April, price opened at 54 naira 20 kobo. Highest point that price touched on that particular day was 58 naira 45 kobo. Lowest point that price touched was 54 naira 20 kobo. And price now closed at 58 naira 45 kobo. Normally, 17th of April, price is supposed to what? Open at 58 naira 45 kobo. I will explain why we have gap up and gap down in the stock market. It's everywhere. It's the same concept everywhere. Now, we're supposed to open on Friday at that 58 naira, 45 kobo. But price opened at 62 naira. Who can tell me what were the prices that were not traded in between when price on Friday opened at 62 naira? What was the price? So it is easier to calculate that. You want to know the price that was not traded in between. You deduct the close of yesterday from the opening of today. So what would be the answer? That was the price that was not what? That was not, traded in between those gaps. And I will tell you why they were not traded in between those gaps. So the date, okay, I just saw the dates. I said that was Thursday, 16th, 2026. We closed at 58 naira 45 kobo. 17th of April 2026, we opened at 62 naira per share. So what were the price that were not what traded in between? What were the price that were not traded in between? So I'm waiting in the chat box.
So someone's saying that can you be specific about the dates? But if I recall, you mentioned Monday sometime in April. Maybe you can
So,
mention the date.
is it that one? The one that I was talking about was um the one I was talking about was, sorry, just hold on. I was talking about was 13th of April on Monday to 14th of April on Tuesday, 2026. So now I'm asking a new question because now that everybody understands how market open and close. So now I'm now asking, we are now moving into the concept called gap up and gap down. Now I explained what a gap up is. I said a gap up happens when today's market opens above yesterday's highest traded price. So why does this? I'm waiting for the answer. So if you deduct that, what was not traded in between? If you deduct 54.8, I mean 85, 58.45 from from 62 naira, what would that give us? You guys, I'm not, I want to be sure that everybody understand what I'm saying. So I'm waiting. So what's the difference?
So Ayomide is saying 59, 60, 61.
Oh, okay. Yeah, correct. 59, 60, 61. They were not, traded at that point. Now you now understand the concept of that book. Now that means it around 3 naira 55 kobo were jumped, and that's huge for first school at that price. Thank you very much. 3 naira 55 kobo. Now, do you know understand why do we have such events? During period when the market is closed, when the market was closed, maybe during post market, the demand for that stock increased significantly. That's during that time, that is 10 minutes to the end of the market. That's when the crazy guys come in and they start heavily demanding for that stock. When trading resumes tomorrow, the algorithm will change as buyers are willing to pay substantially higher price for that stock. It's psychology. Today everybody is happy. I mean, people are scared of, oh, I can't buy, I mean, this thing is falling every day. This the same psychology when investors or traders are demanding for that particular stock, they will pay any amount to get into that particular stock. As simple as ABC. They will pay any amount to get into that particular stock. Some of them are willing to risk a higher than 20%, and you know that the market is 10% every day. And I'm coming to this particular day that I use my ellipse to mark. On that particular day, people that made money, they made 20%. These are abnormal imbalances that happen on the NGX, and that happens just once in a while. Now, the price point is 3 naira 55 kobo. They were not traded. That's 659, 60, 61 was not traded. On that particular day, market opened at 62 naira. The lowest point that price closed at is 61 naira 40 kobo. The lowest point, I mean, the highest price point was 64 naira 25 kobo, and market closed at 64 naira. Guess what? On Wednesday, our market what closed at 64 naira. Guess what? There was a smaller gap that following day again. Price opened at 65 naira. Why? The surge continued. Now, take note, even if we can have, even if we have three, even if a gap up happens, it does not mean that that stock can go on full bid. There might be some people that they want to bring down the price, and they have, and maybe the person that wants to exit can just take that, I mean, a small discount and exit, and the price comes down, fill in their order, price goes back up again. There are some days that gap up happens and it's just normal. Yes, the gap up have happened and market continues during the normal session at that moment. So these again, these are the things. And if you listen to that last space, one of Brokamo, he was saying some things, and I understood what he was saying, but he couldn't tell us breakdown because again, he's in the industry. I'm into I'm in this industry. I'm not going. I'm only going to stick to what the chat is saying. I'm not going to tell you what goes on during negotiations, during deal making. Okay, at the end of the day, at the end of the day, we now understand what gap up is and what causes gap up. Gap up occurs, you know, when the demand stock increase significantly at the end of the trading session. Buyers will be willing, they will be begging to key in to that stock. Now let's talk about gap down. Gap down is the opposite. So gap down is the opposite. Is the opposite. That means is the opposite of that today's market open, the today's market opening is what? Below yesterday's lowest trading price. Today's market opening, today's market opens below yesterday's lowest trading price. Traded price. Let's say today the market open at, I'm coming to this gap down, I'll show you here, it's obvious here. Let's say the market opens at 8 naira, ABC opens at 8 naira 50 kobo. You are seeing it on my screen. I can show you this is another gap down. This is a gap down. Can you see my cursor? This is a gap down. We're coming to first Oko. It's very evident. I love first Oko chart. Why? Because a lot of volume, the candles are very beautiful to see, to depict whatever that is going on in the market. Now, let's say first, let's use ABC as a yardstick. Let's use ABC as a yardstick. Now, for ABC, let's say ABC opens at 8 naira 50 kobo. The lowest price point for ABC was 10 naira per share, and the closing price was 10 naira 50 kobo. Now, don't forget, there is a gap down. And what was the gap down? As of yesterday, the low for yesterday for ABC was 10 naira. The low for the closing was what? 10 naira 50 kobo. Then today, ABC what? Then today, ABC opened at 8.5. So that yesterday's close. What? Now, if you do the difference, what was the difference? The difference is that if you subtract 10.5 from, if you subtract 10 naira, 10.5 from 8.5, what was traded, what was not traded in between was 10.4, 10 point, that's two, the difference is 2 naira. That's the gap difference, 2 naira. And I'll tell you why a gap down occurs. Let's quickly look at first notebook. This is a gap down here. Now please bear with me. This was 24th of April 2026. 24th of April 2026. This red candle I'm touching, that was on a Friday, right? This was on a Friday, this was on a Monday. 24th of April 2026. First Oko opened at 75 naira 30 kobo. And what? I can tell you the total volume traded on that day was 4,830,000, right? 4 million, yes, 4,830,000 shares was traded on a Friday, 24th of April 2026. Now, 24th of April 2026. 75 naira, it opened 75 naira 30 kobo. Highest point 75 naira 30 kobo. Lowest point on that day, first local traded 75 naira and closed at 75 naira. Normally, we are supposed to open what? At 75 naira on Monday, which was 27th of April 2026. But no, price opened at 70 naira. What is going to be the difference? When price closed at 75 naira on Friday, on Monday, price opened at 70 naira. What is going to be the difference? Meaning that a gap down has occurred. It means the sellers, again, the psychology of this thing is that sellers are willing to pay less price. They are not willing to pay higher price, and they are willing to pay what? A less price. And market open at 70 naira on Monday. Thank you very much. 5 naira is the difference. Thank you. Stop with the old names. 5 naira is the difference. That means between 75 to 70, 74 was not traded, 72 was not traded, 73 was not traded, but price opened at 70 naira. Sell pressure, which on that particular day, there was, price closed negative minus 10%. The lowest price closed at 67 naira 50 kobo. Meaning on that particular Monday, instead of losing just 5 naira, price lost 7 naira 50 kobo from its what? Its closing price on Friday 24th of April, 75 naira. Do you see that human psychology works on the chart? This was on the 13th, 17th, was it not 17th of April? 17th of April, everybody was, rallying hard towards queuing hard to buy first gold coal, and the adrenaline was there, and the adrenaline was high until we get to the point of, oh, there need to be correction. Now people were already panicking. Oh, I need to get out instantly so that I lock in my gains. And what? A gap down occurred. 5 naira was lost. And now that particular day on Monday, trade don compare with 4,830,000 that was closed on 24th. On Monday 20, which was 27th of April, 18,460,000 units were traded. And on that following day, since price closed at 67 naira 50 kobo, what do you think price will open at on Tuesday 28th of April 2026? Let me see. And there was no gap up, no gap down. Price continued from where it's listed. So who can tell us, tell us where price will open at? Sorry, there was a gap down. So yeah, there was a gap down. So there was a gap down. Don't worry, I just saw it. So at the end of the day, which now takes me to 8th of July, the conversation that we had around on Sunday. And so why does gap down happen? Before I now wrap up my summation on these 3 particular dates that the person was saying, that was saying that there was manipulation. There's no manipulation. So why do gap down happen? Gap down happens when there is increased selling pressure. When selling pressure increases significantly, that sellers are willing to accept lower prices when trading resumes. People that want to get out. People that want to get out of the trade gets, pressured by lowering their price to the bidders, and the bidders now what? Then the bidders get their favorite position and they take it off the sellers who are willing to sell minus 10% to exit their position. So before that, I'm seeing some questions. Emeka is asking, say, what is the significance? Emeka, one, okay, Emeka, let me not. I think one call down. So what's the significance of this information? Are you saying it's likely that price will continue going up after a gap up? When a gap up happens, of course, you expect that um, price continues to go up afterwards because I mean there's insane volume, so that uptrend continues to go up. So of course, yes, when there's a gap down, of course, a lot of people want to take profits. So what happens? There's supply, a lot of supply, which pulls down the price. So yes, price goes down. Then before it finds its nearest support or its nearest support level, and so on and so forth. Isn't it possible that the stock actually traded at those missing prices before prices, but it's not showing on the chart because the unit traded didn't get enough volume to again? That's why we have the rules, the 100K unit rules. And if you check and if you going through the other book, those retail trades, like I said again when we had these conversations, are not significant. If there were 100,000, it will reflect on the candles. Even in the US, when there are crazy gap up. If the NGX say they want to remove that 10%, you might even be seeing some stocks doing minus 20% gap down, even less than 30% safe. In the US, when companies report useless results, they get serious beating. They can't even get crazy minus 10% gap down, even 20, some even lose 40%. It happens during those periods. Yes, there might be prices traded at those levels, but were they significant enough to take this thing? So again, it cannot at that moment because when market is opening, there's what we call the pre-opening. In the pre-opening, buyers and sellers are auctioning. They are already auctioning what they want to sell, what they want to trade. When the market opens, people have already keyed in their orders. When the market now fully open to everybody, those bids get filled, and that's when you now start seeing, this thing has done 10%, this thing has done this thing 20%. So gap ups must always reflect on the chart, and the significance or the lessons of this information is to teach the community what the meaning of gap up is and what the meaning of gap down is. So let me go back to this 9th of July. On the 9th of July, total volume traded 1,260,000,000 units traded on the 9th of July, which again, First of all, was not on full bid. Let me tell you that. It was not on full bid. At some point in time, it was on full bid, but people dragged the price down on that same particular day. First Oko touched its lowest point on 62 naira, opened at 62 naira, touched its highest point of 63 naira 20 kobo, and closed at 69 naira 55 kobo. That was 69 naira 55 kobo. Work with me, guys. On the 10th, 69 naira 55 kobo. Then on the 10th, there was a small gap up as First Oko. Yes, we closed at 69 naira 55 kobo. On the 10th, there was a small gap down as price opened at 69 naira 5 kobo. But that's not the main bone of contention here. The bone of contention here is I've cleared the 9th of July. There was nothing like, it was full bid. there were still what prices traded in between. So it was not flat. Now, on the 17th of July, this was what I was explaining to somebody on X, and I was just laughing at the comments. The person said, but that's not important. 17th of July, work with me, was on Friday, July. And I want to ask everybody the same question. On this particular day,
Senko, can't hear you. You seem to be muted. I guess maybe a call came in or something. In the meantime, feel free to ask any questions that you have. I would take the questions. Um,
sorry, a call came in and took my network out. But can everybody hear me? Am I
yes, we
clear
can
now?
hear you now. Yes,
Okay.
you are.
Now, okay. This was what? This now 17th was on Friday because there was a massive gap up on the 17th of July 2026. Now, guys, work with me. Price opened at 95 naira 95 kobo, closed highest point. So, sorry, let me be sure that I'm reading the right thing. Sorry, this is 17th of April. Yes, price opened at 95 naira 95 kobo. Highest points. Everything was what? Highest price point was 95 naira 95 kobo. Then the lowest point was that price now dragged down to 79 naira, but the demand at before the end of the closing market period what took the price closed at 95 naira 95 kobo. If you do the math, if you got those bids at 79 naira per share, who can do the price increase? The price increase on that particular day when price swung down to 79 naira and went back up to 95 naira 95 kobo, which we closed. What was the price increase? Normally, because I always tell people sometimes you can make 10% in a day when there are, it's just sometimes imbalance that happens. So who can tell me the price if such person had got into that into so you made 16.95. Are you giving me in supposing I got in at 79 naira for that particular day and price now closed at 95 naira 95 kobo. That was on a Friday. Who can tell me? So what was the increment? Oh, okay. 16.95%. You've earned 16.95%. Just because you were, again, it does not happen every time. It's not a fluke. It does not happen that, oh, because this. No, there are just these periods like this. Periods like this, we see them at that region. So 16 naira 95 kobo. So now, what now happens? Let's quickly now do that. On Monday, on Monday, price, there was now a gap up. Don't forget, oh guys, 95 naira 95 kobo. We closed on that day. It was not on full bid. There's nothing like if it was on full bid, everything will be flat. Don't forget, I explained that. So, it's 21 naira 21.45% if you got in on that particular day on Friday. This is why data don't lie. It's not everything is written on the chart. 21, so 21.45%. Good. Now, on Monday, which takes me to this point, Monday was what? 20th of July. Monday was 20th of July. On the 20th of July, this is what we call a full bid. But I want to ask a question. I want to know if people understand this concept of gap up or gap down. Now, there was a gap up. Price closed, opened at 105.5. What was the amount that was not traded in between? Who can tell me that? What was the amount that was not traded in between? We closed at 95 naira, 95 kobo on the 17th of July, and there was a full bid on that particular day. There was, and total shares traded on Friday was 225 million point something. Total shares traded on Monday was what? 203 million. So I'm asking, what was the difference that was not traded between that Friday and the Monday opening? Who can tell me? I'm on the chat box. I'm using my two systems so to look at your answers. So how am I doing it? So I'm using my second screen to view your answer. What was not traded in between? I want to see that people understand this concept very well. Practical and theory, which will show you on the screen. I thought people were answering. We don't have people again on the call.
Still have a few people on the call, about 45 people watching. Maybe some
Oh,
of them joined much after.
okay, okay.
So Bami says 16.95 is Naira increase. The percentage increase is 21.45.
No, no.
So
Uh, okay. Oh, okay. The naira. So that means 95 naira from 105.5 is what? Will it give us 16 naira? I doubt that too. That's not math. The math is not mathing. So what would be the difference that was not traded in between? I want to see, okay, 95 from 95.6 down to 104.99. 105 105.4 was not traded in between. So do the math. Thank you very much. Somebody said 10 naira 90 kobo. 10 naira 90 kobo. That was what was not traded in between. So 10 naira 90 kobo. So yes. So um now let's now continue from that. Now there was what? Full bid on that day. I don't like using the word full bid. So everything was flat. That means on that particular day, oh, no trade went below 105.5. Maybe some sub trades were doing above 105.5 in the other book, but could not what move the price. So everything was executing at 105.5 on a Monday, 20th of July 2026. Reference price was 105.5. Then you look at on a Wednesday, I made mention of this volume. If you follow me, you see it. Wednesday, series significant volume 736.04. million units traded. Even when there was a sell-off on 30th of July, this was a crazy sell-off, a crazy sell-off at 1.57 billion units, dominated by the sellers. So for gap up or gap down, for gap up, the easiest way to remember gap up is today's opening price is above yesterday's high. There's an empty price area in today's opening, definitely. While for gap down, today's opening price is below yesterday's low, and there's an empty price area above today's opening. And one important distinction is that you will always see it reflect on the chart. That is one important distinction of a gap up and a gap down. With this and everything has been displayed on the chart does not lie. The chart tells us the story that has played out on the order book, which translates into the candles. And this is how I analyze, especially because I'm a price action trader and I land volume to the core. There are different things I could use. If I turn on my VPVR, this is already getting, you know. And if you look at this region for a what, you can look at this region. This again tell us that at this session, even if first Holdco is going to drop at these two prices, if I see first Holdco at 68.79, I will be buying because I expect a crazy bounce at 68.15 because there is a strong support at that region. And at that region, this was the highest region, the highest POI, that's the point of control interest, the north point of control interest, where first Holdco, I mean, was heavily traded. And if you look at all these places, I marked it carefully. And this ellipse also showed what happened in first Holdco. So there's nothing like manipulation, everything aligned on the chart. Thank you very much. On the way. I hope we have more questions so that I can answer.
Yeah, thank you, Senko, for that. And for those who are listening, in case you caught it or caught us in the middle, not to worry. This live stream is recorded. You can always come back to replay it. If you are a Spotify person, it will also go up on Spotify. To be up maybe a few hours from now, but it will be up sometime this evening. I would also tweet a link as well. So now that we've explained that, we've been on for what, almost 2 hours now. We started a few minutes to 12. The time is 40 minutes to 2. So we'll take the next 5 minutes for questions. So if you have any questions other than the first Holdco, which we've kind of explained, feel free to drop your questions. But Senko, since today is a holiday, yesterday was a trading day. What are your thoughts on how the rest of the week would shape out? How do you think the rest of the week would shape out for the NGX? Where do you see us closing?
Again, this week is going to be for the FTSE Russell on whether Nigeria is going to be added back to the index or not. But I still expect the sideways movement to continue. Again, I mean, you look at the key, who are the big guys that move the market. Sorry, I don't know why my chart keep moving to AMD. Nothing really from the big guys, no major movements from the big guys. So I still expect that again, if you look at the ASI, let's just say ASI. You look at the ASI and you are looking at what the ASI is about, I mean, has slightly lost its support zone and it's not looking good. I remember that on Sunday I spoke about the ASI and the two key oh wow. I mean, and the two key regions that we'll be looking at for the ASI: 239,473, 223,1 40.6. And again, we're already gearing up for the IPO in September, but a significant relief, we can just see a relief bounce that, so that, I mean, is if the FTSE Russell is going to add us back. Even if, again, I still expect, even if they are going to add us, we're not going to see an instant, move in the market. But it will be a slight relief. It will be a slight relief. But uh, I mean, we'll continue to trade between the 250 to 223,000. But a caveat, we must not lose the 223,140.6 points, which is a very strong region. We could see how price interacted when we got to this level. So we must not lose it. And it's looking like now we might lose 239 when market resumes tomorrow. Again, it has shown that we've lost the core support slightly, but anything can happen tomorrow. But all I just see is sideways movement in the NGX till maybe even the end of the year. But sell-offs have been kind of crazy, and it's not as crazy as June. I mean, July, I mean, August have been okay. Not that, again, the market is bearish. No, we are still in a bull market. We are still maintaining structure. But definitely, yes, corrections are bound to happen.
Any sector in particular that you feel is showing signs of weakness?
The insurance. Let's quickly look at the insurance sector. They have been showing. I mean, I'll stock up. I'm really concerned about NGS consumer goods. First of all, let's even talk about the consumer goods. I'm not bothered about the insurance. The insurance has always been the laggard. You can see the NGS consumer goods. It's not really looking good. Look at the daily chart for the NGS consumer goods. You can see how the charts. I mean, look at this gap up that led to the all-time high. Then look at it now. We're back again to this zone to fourth. I mean, we've lost two key supports, and it's now looking likely that we're now coming down to 3,640, which is not going to be a very good thing. Let me just put it to the weekly time frame. You can see, look at how we smashed this down. Let me turn off my visible range value profile. So it's not looking nice. That I mean, you look at, these are the two region I'm looking at. But if we start seeing movement around NASCON, these are guys that can move, and Boa Food. So Boa Food really took us down. Boa Food, but Boa Food is still holding its own. I'm not expecting this move. I mean, and the consumer goods again has cleaned up all gains that it has made for this year. So now we are now in a negative territory. You could see where this is. When did we start? This is June. I mean January, right? Yeah. Okay. Let's just say this. Okay. Let's just say it has not cleaned up. So this is January. So if we look at it to where year to date, if I'm doing a year to date, this is 5th of January. If I'm doing a year to date, let's just say the NGS Consumer Goods Index is up slightly by 1.28%. Now, when it hits its all-time high, it was up by 28%. But now we're about to lose all the gains. That's almost wiped out 99% of its gain, and we're slightly up by uh, we're slightly up by we're slightly up by 1 point. It's barely 1%. We're barely 1% up on the NGS consumer goods year to date. That's bad. Not looking good for the index. And looking likely that we might extend the gain, I mean, the negative zone back to 3,640 points. But again, I wrote about it. We could say it's attributed to this US Iran war, energy costs, I mean, supply zone. This is why these companies need to do calls. Let's know where you guys are having issues. Let's know if you guys are changing suppliers and all those things. Because again, it was evident in their results. I mean, some of some of them barely grew, some of them were just there. It was not kind of impressive. So these are the things that we need to see. Another one again that is the NGX in industrials. I mean, sorry, not the industrials. Industrials is bullish. Insurance. For the NGX insurance, for the NGX insurance, it has not been looking beautiful for the NGX insurance. For the NGX insurance. So for the NGX insurance, again, we are in a negative zone for the NGX insurance, and as the case may be for the NGX insurance, it's not. If you look at the year to date, uh, for NGX insurance, I mean, we're in a loss. Don't sorry, we're significantly in a loss for the NGX insurance. We're down by the NGX insurance is down by almost 20% or more than 20%. Let's say it's down by 20%. So it's not looking good for the NGX insurance, and let's see how that goes. A lot of weaknesses on the NGX insurance, so I don't expect anything beautiful um, in the short term for NGX insurance. But some companies are giving good point of entry for the NGX insurance. Don't get me wrong. So many companies are giving good points of entry for NGX insurance. And I'll pay more attention to NGX consumer goods too, because these guys they work day and night. So I mean, if some companies are trading at a discount, some of them why not? So that's it. Yeah.
All right. So I think we're good to go. Um, there's a question: what is it going to cost to have proper TA tutorials from primary to complex aspects of technical analysis? Join the Telegram group. Senko has done hundreds of classes on that. I've dropped the link in the in the comment section, and it says audios are there, visuals are not there. Well, we'll work on it. We're working on something towards that. Would announce in good time, but we're working on something. Sanko is working on something to have resources on technical analysis, maybe classes, webinars, but would give more color in a couple of mix. Any intel on tip? We have no update on tip, but we have no update on tip. But I'm sure before the end of the year, we would have the management of tip back on a green ticket space. We should have them before the end of the year. But for us, we don't have any updates on tip, none so far. Sustainable Capital has exited Seplat. Is it a good or bad development? It's not a bad development. You know, they probably have made some money. They want to deploy the money into other places. So it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. If they existed, people get in and get out of companies once they've met their investment objectives, or if they have other uses of the money, if they see the other opportunities that will give them great returns, then we exit. And sometimes some of these firms have timelines within which they hold investments, could be 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, and the likes. And then after that, they could decide to exit. So I thank you all for joining. Keep an eye. Who knows? We could, I'm sure between now and next week, we most likely would, who knows, maybe hold another webinar. Today was a good day in the sense that markets are closed today, so that gives us the time to kind of do this as well. But keep an eye. We are live almost. We are live almost every 2-3 days, especially midday. Most of the middays, every 2-3 days, we are either live midday on YouTube. Sometimes we are live midday on Twitter. So I follow across all platforms. We'll do this again sometime soon. Thank you all for joining. Enjoy the rest of your day.